it going there, man?
What up?
What's up? Could you please introduce yourself?
My name is Jose Ravelo. My Instagram handle is allsnaps.jpg, but that's probably going to change. I'm a 20-something amateur photographer from Vallejo, California, in Alameda. Mid-pandemic, my mom and I moved out here, and I just kind of fell in love with the streets over here. It's so slow, it's easygoing, and it's very low stakes. I love it out here. Cool. I guess we'll just go this way. It's a lot easier, I feel like, in Alameda to kind of follow the light too.
Oh, yeah.
The island's relatively flat, so
Alameda's an island?
it is. Yeah. So Alameda, like, I don't know too much about the history of Alameda, but I know that Alameda was mostly used for naval operations, and so a lot of the housing and a lot of the businesses that sprouted up here centered around servicing Navymen. So a lot of what you're seeing now are like houses from way back then.
Yeah,
and
they're kind of like antiquated and very large and colorful.
Yeah, which I think gives them a lot of character.
So tell me, what got you into photography?
In high school, I was in my school's yearbook class for freshman year, and that required me to have a DSLR. And so I begged my mom to buy me one, and then I ended up with a Canon C3i that I just had at school. That same freshman year, I also took a manual photography class. So it taught me how to shoot and develop 35mm film. I fell in love with that. I felt like that process was something that I could never access economically.
Like shooting
but
film specifically?
Yeah, and it's something I never could access economically, but just the feeling of creating a photo, because we didn't just shoot it and develop it, we also printed it, which was tight. And so then I took my camera. I stopped. I only took those classes for a year, and then I left it in my locker. And then I took the bus, and when I realized I was on the bus, I didn't have that camera anymore. And so I went back to my locker, which was already open, and it was gone. So that I lost my very first camera.
At Elko?
It was crazy. I never found that camera again. I even had oh man, I'm very thankful that I didn't have to experience loss in a death context, but I feel like that was my very first experience of true loss. Because I had to explain to my mom. Yeah,
it was an important thing.
Sorry, I got this one. Later on down the road, I'll give this photography thing another shot. I think I just felt comfortable using it, and I wanted to make up for the fact that I'd lost the first one. Took that and ran with it. Took a lot of I kind of fell into the Instagram, a lot of the hype shots. Being growing up in the Bay Area, you're surrounded by so many different photography meccas almost. You got all of the area surrounding the Golden Gate Bridge, the bridge itself, Sutro Baths, was it Baker Beach? And all these different places in that part of the city. Plus you have just San Francisco downtown is gorgeous, or it was anyway. It was I basically just went to, if there was a place that I saw on Instagram that I wanted to recreate with my own camera, or recreate shots from my own camera, I'd go there.
So I hear you talk about Instagram as definitely being an influence. But
yeah,
what
absolutely.
What are some other pretty strong photographic influences that have influenced your photography?
Man, I was worried you'd ask that, because I feel like, quite honestly, my main inspirations were whoever I followed on Instagram, and the people that ended up being kind of defunct after a while, because they were sort of chasing the same things I was chasing. Those people kind of made me realize what was possible, even if you were just some dude with a camera.
Yeah, that they could just go out and take photos, and
right.
And then you could too.
Yeah, 100%. So I think a lot of the inspiration that I got from Instagram, though it was still sort of shallow, allowed me to pursue it in the first place, which I think is the most important thing.
So you'd say was there any specific person that you followed, or any pages that really spoke out to you?
I think a lot of a lot of my influences, now I can't even name them because they're just accounts that I followed on Instagram that were like, oh, they have this many followers or whatever.
What do you think makes a good photo?
Fuck, man. What makes a good photo is I take pictures of very few things. And it's something that Monica's pointed out in a lot of my photography. I take pictures of cars, chairs, old shit, using golden hour as a crutch, as many photographers do. So I think that like with a lot of my own photography, I kind of, I fall into the trap that I've been falling into the trap of like, I know exactly what looks good to me. And so I'm going to look for those things. What like makes like a good photo would be like something that like fits what I want to do, whatever I'm trying to capture in that moment in time.
How long have you been doing photography for?
And this year would mark like the 10th anniversary of like doing whatever it is that I'm doing. And it's been a long time, but I feel like I've learned so much. I've learned that I know nothing. And every time I learn a new thing, I realize I've been doing everything all wrong, and then I completely change up my workflow. But I think that's part of it. I think that's the point. So my New Year's resolution was to kind of come up with some sort of zine of the work of the last year or so, and hopefully have it done by. How's it going, buddy? Hopefully have it done by. Oh, I love that, man. Thank you. Yeah.
Come on.
This is tight, man. It's a shame what happened to the A's.
Go ahead.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
No problem.
How'd you go about getting this thing?
I won in an auction.
Tight.
We came out with 50 of them during the 2018 season.
That's not a lot.
I mean, well, they put them all over Oakland, and then after the 2018 season, they put them up for auction. And I won one, and before I did all this, it was grass. I'm like, do I want to put her in a grass? Yeah. No. She needs a pedestal.
Yeah.
So I'm like.
So is that the original like pavement that it was on?
So the top pavement's hers.
Okay.
The bottom payment I put in.
Yeah, putting you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It was a good amount, and I went for we put a bid on it and won it, and now it's here.
It's here, hell yeah.
Booyah.
You going out to the Sacramento games at all?
I don't know. I gave up my season ticket for Oakland. I don't know what I'm gonna do this year.
Yeah, man.
Since
I'm sure you'll find something.
now baseball's out of my life, and then Ricky, the passing of Ricky.
Right, that's rough, man.
I'm like, damn.
Yeah, dude.
A lot changing.
A lot of end of the era, yeah, man. Well, thank you for letting me take pictures.
No problem.
Name's Jose.
David.
David, good to meet you, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great one.
Take care, man. Cool dude.
Yeah.
Hung out with David. We hung out with David. I was taking pictures of his elephant, and we got talking about like.
Yeah, he let us in, and we took. Because I was an 8, I had no food.
What's the name of the Chunky? Yeah, I forgot. No, it's not. It's not Chunky for sure. It's called Stomper. That's the name. Shout out Chunky. But yeah.
What current projects are you working on?
Oh right.
What have you worked on?
Yeah. So this year I was like thinking how I hadn't really printed any of my own work. I'm gonna just try to push myself to make a zine. So wanted to make like a short, I don't know, like 20-something page zine of like just some of my favorite shots over the last year. She knows my photography better than me.
That's funny. Tables, yeah. I mean, it's cool that you have your like things in mind. I never thought about it as like, yeah, there's things that I take photos of. I mean, I would think I'm always thinking of people.
I think when you like, that's what I'm learning with this like zine project is like when you put all of your photos that your favorite photos like side by side, you realize what it is that you like taking pictures of.
Yeah.
And like why that is.
That's a really interesting idea.
And this is what I was talking about earlier. You fall into the same patterns for the photos you take, and whether or not that's good, I don't know. But I just know that that's what allows me to remain consistent in what I'm taking photos of.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for like, I guess, satisfaction in what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm looking for actually. I'm not looking for things to keep, I guess.
Maybe you're just like documenting.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I go to so many different like cities and towns and stuff that they all start to sort of blend together. And I think when I look at a photo, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, wow, that was a really cool car that I saw over there. But that's very much it, right? Like, that's the end of that experience. But like, I don't know. I'll probably look. I don't think any of those were keepers, but I'll look back on those photos of Stomper and I'll think about the guy. I have no idea what I'm looking for. I think that's the beauty of like going out in Alameda and cities like it, because I don't know what I'm looking for and I don't know what I'm gonna find. But when I find it, I'll know it's it. Being out here is the first step, but then the actual ability to like click the shutter.
Do you consider yourself a street photographer?
I walk around on streets and I take photographs, but I don't know if I'd fit the definition, because I think that like the street photography that I have in mind when I hear that term is like the ones where, I don't know, you get up in people's faces and you get a lot of candid moments. And I mean, walking around Alameda, you don't get a whole lot of that. You don't get a whole lot of that.
Yeah. I mean, that's one kind of street photography for sure. But, you're literally on the street taking photos. So
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah.
This is too.
I guess I've just never really been able to define myself, because, like, I've never really seen my work as something worth titling myself for, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
defining.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of accolades that come with being a street photographer, and I feel like I've earned none of them. I go around and I take pictures of what I like to see. And
yeah, I hear you. It's like if you want to call yourself a street photographer, then you have to be one.
Yeah.
And you're kind of just like trying to capture, and you're literally just taking photos on the street of what you're seeing. That's sort of not something that has the same level of like pressure or like demand as like street photography.
Right. Exactly.
That's cool.
Street photography has a sort of like urban connotation. So like generally you'll see a lot of street photography in the city or in denser populated areas. I like this. I like slow towns.
Cool.
Because it just, I don't know, people aren't yelling at you or trying to sell you something.
Maybe we need like a new term, like suburban.
Yeah, right.
Suburban photography.
And I think that's been covered.
There's more to add.
Sure, absolutely.
So have you worked on any projects already? Have you produced any sort of zines or anything like this?
Yeah, so I mean, I have this book. Every once in a while, I'll get like a person.
Maybe see the cover?
Yeah, every once in a while, I'll get a person who like asks me like what the fuck I'm doing. At the time, I didn't really have this book, and so I figured like I'd just like pull out like my phone or tell them like, oh, I'm just a photography student. But I just felt not genuine, and so like I like made this book called Here's Why. Which is literally, there's only one copy because it's all I had the money for. But I'll like hand this to people whenever they're like weird about like me taking pictures of their home or car or something.
Wow. That's such a cool like reason to make a photo book. Like that might be the most like practical reason to make a photo book I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, and I think that like that's the only reason this is the first time I've ever like printed those photos. Another time was like my wife and I had made like a calendar for like close friends and family. Fun. And so I'd printed some of those photos. And I think like once I realized like how cool it is to have your work physically, I just thought I'd do it again.
Definitely inspires me to see that you just like carry that around. Like, I gotta get on that level. Because
I mean, most people like that old lady earlier, like are super chill about it, especially here in Alameda. But like I don't know, when I get into like more blue collar towns, Crockett, Winters, Martinez, like that's when people are a little bit more
finicky.
Yeah, I was gonna say like aggressive, in terms of like defending their home and like what's important to them, and so it just serves as like a way to show them my photos without handing them my phone. So it's pretty cool. I've definitely had a lot of great like interactions that would have been bad that turned into good because of the book and because of and it's given me a lot of like practice as far as like disarming people who are like on guard.
I'm like blown away right now.
It's pretty out here. Yeah, I feel like people don't come out here a lot. It's out of the way.
Big subject. Cars, chairs, tables.
By no intention of my own. I think I just kind of gravitate toward a lot of this stuff. Random crap, yeah.
I'll help you if I see anything. I'll put it down.
Good looking out.
That's kind of fun. Like I can help it. I can help you. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what you're gonna take a photo of. That's cool.
Yeah, right on. You're like the second eye.
How has your photography like evolved over?
I feel like a lot of the work that I do comes from a sense of like naivete and hubris. I think I know everything until something comes along where it's like, you're not exposing this right. Or like, I don't know, like a good example is like when the Fuji came along, it walked into my life. I was like messing around with the reverse clarity or whatever, like the negative clarity, which basically just blooms your highlights a fuck ton. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I might as well take advantage of this and just like crank my exposure compensation up. A third stop was just overexposing a fuck ton of my photos. And so like I didn't really know what I was doing, but I thought I did. And I think that like encapsulates like, or like defines my work, is that like every year I'm learning something dramatically new, I'm learning something new that dramatically shifts the way I approach photography.
Like, you're an evolving photographer. Like
Yeah.
you change all the time.
I feel like it creates a level because I'm never sure that what I'm taking is a good photo. I don't think I ever will be. I think that's like the whole idea, is that I've always,
it's always ahead of you.
yeah, I've always envied like photographers thinking like they know, right? Like they clearly know what is a good shot, like quote unquote good shot, because they show it to you, right? They post it on Instagram. They put it in a video. Like my time with Portrait 400 or something. Recently, I've been getting into a lot of like, photography YouTube that like embraces the fact that like they don't take perfect photos.
For sure.
And they're not expecting the most out of what they're doing. I think that film is for the people that are more sure of their art than I am. I'm not very sure about what I'm taking photos of. Even right now, I feel like this really throwing off. Like it makes me like I'm not walking the directions I would normally walk.
For sure.
Because of the fact that I'm like doing this very differently than I normally would.
Well, that's a valid response. I mean,
Yeah.
photography is like a process.
Yeah, 100%.
And what caught your eye about this?
There was like I don't know, I just see holes in fences and I think maybe this will work. I don't know if that one did. Another thing that like really like, it either compounds on the uncertainty or makes me a little bit more sure of myself. It just depends on the day. Yeah. Is I've just stopped. I like took off the quick preview on my camera, and so I just shoot like it's film, where I just like I not until like maybe a few steps later, but like definitely not like, I don't know. I felt like I've taken so many photos where I've ruined the photo because like I'm like looking at what the photo came out to be, and I think that's like that's the true like, I guess it's like a huge shortcoming of digital, is that like you have so many like opportunities to look at what you're taking photos of, whereas like a film, it's like if you're having a bad day, you don't know that until you develop. That's how I've been able to like kind of like, I love watching film photographers do their thing, and I've like, there's so many instances where I'm like, man, I could shoot film photography, and then I think about how much it costs. I think about like the fact that you could get an amazing shot, but then your gear will betray you at any moment. I don't know. Digital has been nice to me. Yeah. Each shot isn't $5.
You prefer autofocus?
I kept missing focus because like the wrong thing is what my camera would decide to focus on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I had the same exact problem. Like, but I like switched like 3 weeks ago to doing manual focus.
Manual focus is nice.
Like I've done it for a long time.
No, I mean, and I haven't really either, but it's like all I've been doing now. Focus peaking really helps.
Yeah, that's what I use.
But
it just makes it really clear what is and isn't in focus.
Yeah, it helps. I just feel like the amount of like tactile feedback you get also from manual focus feels better.
You were talking about how many photos you've missed because of autofocus. Don't you also miss photos like trying to manually focus?
Oh, 100%. But I think that I would much rather be close and like the photo, there's a photo I've taken before, like behind the wheel on a bridge, and like it's like just slightly out of focus, but it's like one of my favorite behind the wheel photos I've ever taken.
So wait, does a good photo have to be in focus?
Not exactly. I definitely have thrown away a lot of shots because it's like the focus isn't exactly what I wanted out of it. But
I didn't mean to detract you though, but what was that photo that was your favorite, even though it was out of focus? What was it that like you enjoyed about it?
I think what it was that it captured what it felt like to be driving home that day for me. Which I guess it won't come across to someone who's never who wasn't there. But
right, it's almost like it was for you.
it was like it's like a journaling thing, I guess.
Cool.
Because I feel like I look back a lot of my photos and a lot of the like outtakes and the B-sides and stuff like that, like those I feel like bring back memories of like what it was like that day. The shit I was worried about.
I hear you talking a lot about how photography is like really intertwined with like emotions and memories for you.
Yeah, I'm actually realizing that now. My wife described my photography once as like nostalgic, and like I guess that was not what I was going for, but it was sort of something that like I realized as she told me, and I was like, I think the feeling of nostalgia really like carries a lot of what I do. I don't know. I think I like a lot of my photos. I try to like attain like a dreamlike quality to a lot of things.
What's your favorite type of photography to shoot?
It's like this stuff, like still life. Yeah, things that aren't moving. I think when things are moving, it's really hard for me to convey like a feeling. Yeah.
That's cool.
I don't know. My wife's, who's that? Oh yeah, I love cats.
Nice.
But cats also aren't really moving that much unless they like are. Yeah, I love cats. I'm hoping we run into some today.
How do you feel about Instagram as a platform for sharing photography?
I think it's dead. Instagram is, I don't know, maybe I'm just bitter because I have less than 100 followers. But I think I've tried Instagram in its heyday, and I've tried Instagram now, and it's like really the primary way that I share anything. But I don't think it's, with the way the algorithm works and the fact that no one ever really sees your photos until maybe 3 days later, I don't think it's a way of garnering engagement and interaction with your photos. One thing that I've been sorely missing since I've gone like full into photography is like a sense of community. There isn't a whole lot of people I talk to about photography except my wife and my cousin, who is also a photographer. But other than that, like I don't really find myself in a space where like I can like talk to anybody about photography. And I think I always feel like I sort of missed the boat on like being in that community for one reason or another. I don't know. I'm not sure why.
Do you think that like your photography would be improved if you were more in touch with the community?
I think so. Because as much as I love showing my photography to my family, and like I just feel like there isn't any constructive feedback that I'm getting, because I don't know, maybe there isn't any to give, but I think it's more than likely that I'm not composing things in a way that someone might otherwise.
Yeah, I guess like what sort of feedback is there to give on photography? It's
You're right. Yeah.
subjective game.
100%. I think that like
that introduces a lot of like ego and hubris and perspective also though.
No, totally. And I think what it is like I feel like just being able to talk with somebody about photography, I think it allows me to like get a feel for what people actually think of my photos. Because you're not going to get that on Instagram.
Yeah.
You're not going to get you're going to get a lot of pats on the backs and good jobs, or in my case, nothing. But like when you're actually speaking to someone about photography, don't mind me. I keep a wide berth, bud. Yeah, I never worked. Oh, she's so speepies.
You're so sweet.
It's all right. Oh, there she goes. I've noticed that I have a very low success rate with cats.
Yeah.
Let me grab the shower here.
My bad.
There you go. I love the lemons.
Dude, the lemons are lemoning. So if you could give a piece of it to yourself or like someone who's trying to improve their photography, what's something you might say?
As soon as you think that you've had like a mastery over any part of photography, whether it's like you're definitely lacking in a different field, like a different part of it. I think you can be confident though. you're allowed to be. I think the confidence that you have as a photographer is important for like putting yourself out there and marketing yourself.
Yeah.
Confidence is important, like that general feeling of like, oh, I can do this. But I think that like there's an overconfidence and, like I said, a hubris when it comes to like, oh, I have a mastery of, like, I have this particular subject matter that I want to master, or I have like I've only been shooting like 35 mil lenses or something like that, right? Like, and like you feel like you've got it, but like I've been shooting the same setup for like a year now, and I've barely managed to like uncover like everything about it. For the longest time, I was shooting on full aperture priority, where I was just like letting my camera decide what shutter speed to use,
Right.
and I didn't even know about auto ISO. And so like absolutely, I only realized that like recently, which I mean on a day like this doesn't matter, but like.
Well, thank you again, man, so much for doing this little photo walk. Do you think you could share where people can follow you in your work if they're interested?
Yeah, my Instagram is allsnaps.jpg, and you can find me on Instagram posting whatever I feel like posting on a semi-frequent basis. And that's basically it. I don't really have that much of a presence elsewhere. So, that's where you'll find me. Keep doing what I'm doing. And yeah, you don't know everything.
Yeah, right on.
So that's like ultimately what I want to convey.